And we are live. Hello, everyone. Let me just we just heard the chimes. But all right, so if your speakers are working, your head probably rattling. Hello, Miss Trina. How are you doing, my dear?
I'm wonderful. How are you, Wayne? So good to be here with you and this wonderful soul family.
I'll tell you, it's, I definitely know that we are favored. I know for myself, because just as you said, we have, I think, some of the most phenomenal energies that are here.
Yes.
Yeah. And I love the fact that we have such a maturity level. There is obviously, this is how I'll put it, this is that I believe that there is a collection of many old souls.
I think in actuality, we might be looking at some of us being like part of the original demigods. And
Maybe.
yeah, some of the higher angels and the energy I see in this community, I see masters.
Yeah, masters is a good word.
Masters.
And hello, everyone. Let me invoke favor upon everybody. Thought I forgot, didn't you? Well, this is turned out to be a phenomenal weekly show. We call The Second Look, and my co-host, Miss Trina, as you can see, she's prettier than I am, but you know what? You have both the grace and the experience. I'll put it that way. So, yeah, just invoking favor upon everyone. We will read the invocation. Someone said, well, you didn't read them last week when Trina came on. Okay. Well, we'll read them now. All right. All these favors will come upon us, this community, this group, and overtake us if we give voice to them each day. Favor will be with us in the city, and favor will be with us in the country. I like that, Trina. You know what? Doesn't matter where you are, the city or the country, you got favor on you.
Absolutely.
Favor will heal our bodies when we speak favor into our bodies. You got to wash it every day. At least I hope you do. All right, let's move on. Exactly.
Wayne, I don't think people realize how profoundly important that is, because it's frequency.
Oh, yes. Yes.
It is. It's so important to clean the temple. It's an act. It's one of the highest acts of honoring the creator.
That's profound. I like that. We'll have to make a note.
Super powerful frequency, especially like if you bathe your body in salt. These frequencies will change your body.
We'll talk more about that. That is excellent. Favor will set apart our children, our animals, our ground is favored with abundance of joy. I hate being in a place where people are just always pissed off and just frowning all the time. It's like, hey, get the vibration up here, folks. Favor will be.
That's our job, though. We're going to hold it, because you know what? When we're resonating faster and higher, it's natural for them to either implode and run away, or they will attrain.
Oh, folks, you're hearing it here. That's worth the price of admission right here. Favor will walk with us when we go in. Favor will walk with us when we come in. Favor will cause our enemies to be at peace with us. Favor will be upon our barns and storehouses where we keep our valuables to prosper and be in safety. Favor will be upon us in everything we undertake. Everything we set our hand to, favor shall cause it to prosper. I love that one. Favor shall be upon all our material property and shall cause it to last longer and not break. Favor shall protect us, our offspring, our possessions from calamity. Favor will be upon us, will lead us to good fortune in all things. Favor will cause us to be the head, not the tail. Favor will always cause us to come out on top, not beneath, and always to be above and not below. I like that one as well. Favor will cause us to have favor with the elements. Favor will cause us to be favored in the spiritual realm. Like that one. Favor will cause us to be favorable to everyone we meet. They will see us with favor, and favor will seek us out. And we say, it is created by my words. What was said has been done. So, Miss Trina, you went out about this weekend, I understand.
I did. You know, Sedona is a very magical place.
Yes.
And I've been running away up there since I got my driver's license. It was the first place I went when I got my driver's license. I was like, I'm going to Sedona and then I'm going to the cabin. And
I love
yeah,
it.
I literally just run as fast as I could to the woods, you know? So this weekend I woke up and I literally woke up and I heard go to Sedona. And I was like, oh, I had no plans to do that, but okay. So I packed it up and got ready and just headed to Sedona. Didn't know why I was going, didn't know nothing. I was just like, I just need to get away. It's probably a good idea. They're like, you need to go to Sedona. I'm like, you're probably right. I could really use a recharge. So there's something about the dirt up there. It's red and it sparkles. It's crazy. It's so beautiful. And you just get there and just the visual changes your frequency because it is literally a spectacle of beauty. I mean, everywhere you look, you're just like, oh, wow, it's amazing.
It's beautiful.
So, yeah, I'm driving up there and then literally I was just like drawn to pull over in a random parking lot and cross a road over a bridge. I knew the river was across the street somewhere. And I just like knew I needed somewhere to be like hidden and kind of in my own space, but I needed to be near the river. I needed to be connected to the earth. I needed to have my feet on the dirt, and I knew I just needed to spend some time and reconnect and listen. So I did that and I found a little spot and I sat down and I was meditating and I was getting all kinds of beautiful information about polarity and duality and more serpent wisdom. And then I was just like, I had all this stuff going through my head. And I'm like, I need some direction and clarity. Am I on the right path? Is what I'm doing, right? And I was like, just show me a sign. Give me something I can see. So I'm like looking up in the trees, waiting for birds, and I'm just sitting there looking around. And I look down and literally right in front of me, I see a sigil, a rune. And it was the rune alges, and it was made out of a leaf, and it was sitting on a rock, and it was held by a little spider web. I'll show it to you.
Look at that. Wow. Now that was just sitting there.
Right, literally right in front of me.
Amazing.
Like right in front of me. I mean, it was not even, couldn't have been 2 feet away. It was literally like 18 inches from my feet.
And just where you
got my feet. I'm like, this is crazy.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and this rune.
Go ahead. Tell me about it. Talk about it. Talk to us about it.
Yeah, it's a rune. It's a Norse rune from the Vikings, and it's literally the rune of protection. And I can read just a little bit about it. It's powerful because it connects to kind of like the black sun energy, the vril energy. It literally puts you as like a gatekeeper of Midgard, which is here between the higher and the lower realms. It says you have accessibility. It says you're a satellite. And when you look at the symbol itself, it literally looks like a human with its arms up, it's like standing upright. And that's what it looks like. So I was like, okay, this is really amazing. And what it is, it's the mirror of the spiritual warrior, one whose battle is always with self, the warrior's protection. It's like the curved horns of the elk. It's the warning, the rustles of the sage in the grass, for both to serve and keep an open space around you. It says control emotions. This is a time of transition, shifts, accelerated self-change. Don't collapse into your emotions because new opportunities are coming. It's time to really trust your inner self. It's it also too connects to the black sun and the higher and the lower realms. And with this, people can go crazy tapping into this power of this rune. It can literally throw you off balance. You can start hearing lots of voices. Probably like getting so out of balance, you could literally become like possessed, bipolar, schizophrenic. all these beautiful mental disorders can come into your being if you do not have the balance and the strength to carry this vibration. So it's funny, it kind of goes back to that warning of be careful not to ask for vibrations that you're not strong enough yet to hold. But make sure to keep asking for an increase of vibration so that way you can become stronger and more finer tuned. So they're telling me, they're like working me like an instrument, and they're putting in new chords. And those new chords, to me, it was shown like a satellite system connecting to two webs, the artificial matrix and the new crystalline grid that we are building and have built. So I've already seen it done. So it's a time to really look inside, connecting to the old lineage, the old parts of myself, coming into a new awareness, a new power, and new abilities.
It's interesting you mention, I just wanted to make sure I had this pulled up. When you talk about, and we're going to have Karen, Queen of Quartz, on tomorrow, talking about this network that's being built. And I found today, I scour the academic databases, it's like, hey, you find some good stuff here. And this particular book I found here, which this gentleman, Carol Polk Runyon, very interesting guy, deals specifically, look at this, how to invoke angels into the crystal and evoke spirits to visible appearance in the dark mirror.
You know what's so interesting about this, Wayne? This was another one of the signs I received a few years ago, and it was regarding angels. And I really do think we are definitely from that phylum.
I have said this, and anybody who wants this, I'll be more than happy to send it to you. Got it, and we'll probably make reference to it because it's an interesting book. I think you're right. I mean, I think that our ancestors and how we as a species interpret things, they saw angels as, almost lesser gods in essence,
We're talking about signs, and it's so interesting because when you just showed me that, it literally brought me to one of my visions that I wanted to talk to you about.
Let's hear.
Back in September of 2013, I had a vision, and what it was I was turned into the eagle again. A couple times this has happened in my life where I've actually become the eagle and I soar. And I was the eagle, and I was flying over the deserts. It looked kind of like the Painted Desert or Death Valley, Monument Valley, like that. That was the scenery that I was seeing. And as I was soaring, I saw in the middle of the desert a black obelisk. And it was pretty large. And there were no roads to this thing, Wayne. I was flying above it like the eagle, and I could see. And there were no roads to this obelisk. And as I got closer to the obelisk, I could see it had symbols. See, I kind of drew it to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
And it was black, jet black, like onyx black. And it was like polished, and it had these carved symbols in it, and it was very beautiful. And then I heard, oh no, they're here. And I felt a very dark energy. I just could sense the doom of it. And I saw this obelisk, and then the capstone had like all these alien hieroglyphics on it. And it was hidden in the mountains, but there was no way you could get to this thing because there was no roads. And then, so I'm sitting down and I'm listening to this, and then I literally heard, but they're here too. And it was meaning the good people. And then I was like, and they was like the angelics, and they were like, there's balance. And I was like, okay, so don't freak out. Yeah, there's dark, but there's also good. So I was like, okay, understanding that. And then I was like, are we angels? Are we earth angels? Are we really angels? Are we from angels? And I'm sitting there and I'm contemplating this. And I was asking, I says, is Jesus an angel? Was he like a hybrid, like an angel human? And this was going through my mind. And I'm sitting there on my patio, and then all of a sudden, feathers fell straight out of the sky, right in front of me. And I grabbed them and I put them in the book.
Can we call that a sign?
Yeah.
I think we can. So class, what did we learn today? Well, we learned that.
I'm like, are we angels? Is Jesus an angel? Was he a hybrid? And he was more angel than human? And that's how he had those beautiful abilities. And then literally these feathers dropped down in front of my face.
I love that. Well, Trina, I would definitely say you're in touch with the spirit realm, no doubt about it. And I like how you,
my friend, always.
Yeah. What did you say? I'm sorry, hon.
As a nature has always been my friend.
Yeah. I think that we so often forget that Earth is a living, sentient being.
Oh yes.
We're
like a rock in a little leaf spoke to me.
Well, in my days in Christianity, I know exactly the quote in the New Testament where it says, well, if they didn't worship me, the very rocks themselves would sing forth. So implying, the metaphorically that the earth in all of her essence, I mean, it's like, I know this sounds odd, but when you lose your skin each day, no matter where that falls, it's still got your DNA in it.
Yes.
Yeah. So I like that because this is what we're talking about, signs. How often do you ask for signs? Apparently in the conversation you did.
I've always asked for signs. Like I've done that since I was a little kid. And then like I would ask a question and then all of a sudden, boom, I'd be up with the Lord. Like it was just like right now, just instant. So I was always asking questions my whole life. I was, like I said, they laugh at me. They're like, she's the why girl. Why? I just want to know why, So I've always had so many questions. And, when I was 3 and I went to church thinking I was going to get to go see Jesus and he wasn't there. And then he told me that I had a relationship with him and that most people don't. And that if I told them that I did, they would tell me I didn't. So, from 3 years old, I started understanding I could see things that other people couldn't see. And I could hear from this being the Lord Jesus person. And most of these people were all going to church saying they know God and they're saved and all this. And I'm like, you guys don't even know him, and it was just at 3 years old to be processing this going, okay, I know more than most people around me. I can see things they don't. So I from that point forward, realized that my best guidance was going to come from spirit because they knew things that people here did not know. And I understood that from the time I was a child. So I have always been asking.
So you, in essence, as I see this, basically, I think, by the way, the vast majority of human beings that are born into this corporeal realm can in fact do speak with the spirit realm
all the time.
And unfortunately, the seed of doubt is planted in by societal customs. You don't hear voices. That was when only children hear voices. Only children speak to things that are not there. We call it pretend.
Yes.
And we are literally programmed out of that belief system into a disbelief system.
Yep. And that's exactly what they want to happen.
And
so funny. Yeah, I think literally our bodies are created to shut those doors. I literally think that was a genetic install to make sure that we got shut down because we're way too smart when you're connected to spirit. Because if you want to know something, you just ask and you focus on it. And that's another thing too. Creation doesn't do what you want it to. It has its own mastery and its own divinity to it. So you have to be patient because The universe will bring you anything you ask for, but sometimes it takes a little bit of time to manifest that energy in this reality. That's why like true magic is like you say, oh, I want to see this show up in my reality. You put forth the energy, you put forth the intention, and then you let it go. And you know it will show up, but you have to have patience. And you have to have faith, because without either one of those two ingredients, you will doubt your magic into dissolution and you will dissolve it.
As I say all the time, learn to doubt your doubts and you'll never doubt your doubts again.
Yes.
So you just mentioned something. By the way, folks, we didn't even have any of this discussed. Literally, we were talking about something else. And I'll just show you real quick. Going to be doing a charging session. And this is what my charging looks like. So there you go.
Beautiful.
One of the things I find with people is they're all different personality types. And I put together a little PowerPoint presentation like I do. Mm-hmm. And I thought maybe, and you didn't even know about this. So first of things we have to get is many times a person's personality will prevent the manifestation of signs in their lives.
Yes.
Yes.
Doubt. Yeah. Doubt. And I'm telling you, spirit, it's a whisper. You literally have to be paying attention to the smallest things or you'll miss the messages, because true inspiration and guidance, it's literally usually not right in your face. I've seen it come that way too, like in your face. But most of the time it's very subtle. And that's part of training you of your mastery, is to tune into these more subtle frequencies that are very hidden, but nonetheless ever present.
The raw, that's what I call it. So we have to see ourselves as, I tell people, and folks, I'll just say it again, learn to practice self-forgiveness.
Oh, God, yes.
You really have to have that. So anyway, I found this and I thought this was so interesting. So in my corporate career, to get hired in a lot of these positions, you had to go through psychological tests. They have the Briggs-Meyer test that, really supposedly focuses in on your skill types, management, etc. Now, it's interesting because if you take the chakras and you look at how each individual has a different center point in their chakra, you can train and you can advance upward. But if you take a look at this, so we have in the human population what we call manifesting generators, projectors, reflectors, manifestors. And this is so interesting. There is a whole program behind this dealing with at what point is your power, your center of energy in your chakras. And as you can see, this represents very closely to the tetrahedrogram, the tree of life, and they take it further. And if you see where the power points are in each individual, you can see the generators, and it gets a little deep, but this is just for a review process. Manifestors, projectors, and reflectors. Manifestors are closed and repelling. Generators are open and enveloping. Projectors focus and absorb. Reflectors resist and sample. So you have different type of energies. You have where people's energies, their core energy is manifesting in the part of their whole chakra system. And this begins to have an effect as to what they manifest in their life. As you can see, manifesting generators, they have the real problem here is frustration, is that because they're impatient. Yeah. In all types of things. And if they don't wait for something to respond before manifesting, they feel frustrated, angry.
That was one of my biggest lessons I had to learn, Wayne, because I'm Aries. I'm the child, the Godhead. It's impatience. I want everything right now. And that's been one of my toughest lessons to learn. is because that is my nature. But I understand that is my natural desire, but that doesn't mean it has to frustrate me, because I understand now that my will is secondary to the will of all that is. And I'd rather
I
have
love that.
will than my own will, because I understand how small I am in comparison.
You just mentioned something on this, and while we're dealing in this, I think so often people see themselves very small.
Uh-huh.
And no matter how they move, and no matter what knowledge is brought to them, and no matter how much they absorb, the fact is they're still their self-images is that they're small.
Yeah, and the small is not a bad thing. It's a beautiful thing, because the smallness that is you is one of the most precious things in all of existence, because that smallest part of you is part of the Godhead. And that is all that is. So within your little tiny smallness is the greatest power that's ever existed.
You can actually take this down to the quantum, because quantum is what we would consider the smallest, but yet it is absolutely the largest. So as you can see, these personality types, you have people that generate, project, and they've gone and looked at the population. Projectors, their strategy is to wait for an invitation. Their aurora is focused and absorbing. Their signature is success. And what they will put out of them is bitterness.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The projectors want to be recognized and invited. You can see the emotions that they put to this. The reflectors, oddly, is 1% or less of the population. Their strategy is that they're more inclined to the lunar cycle. Their aurora is resistant and sampling. In other words, they live in a almost constant state of awe. I think that's cool. And now I thought this was interesting as well, Trina. You can see that they have different colors as to where we are in this.
That's interesting.
And they actually did a test on Barack Obama. They did one on Trump, which was very interesting. So one of the things, pardon?
What was Trump?
He is the same part. There is this thing of where you can actually have the ability of how you inject the power to your words as they come through the living organ.
Remember I told you I had that vision, Wayne, and it's like something spoke through me and my voice turned as loud as a trumpet?
Yes.
I experienced that in the visual world, but not in the physical world. But I felt that power when I had that vision, and it was something different.
Mm-hmm.
And it did feel like literally like some kind of sound opened up inside of my body that I was unaware I even had the capability to do.
Bingo. You're hitting on something that is just, it has to do with the spirit realm.
Wow.
I think a lot of people, we all the time say we're spirits, but yet I think so many people are like, well, what does that mean? I'm spirit, well, how is that defined? What does that entail? What does the package come when you call me a spirit?
Fire, man. Fire.
Exactly. And
spark, fire, spark, power. Oh, so smart.
Look at this. This is the most interesting thing. I was not aware that a person's aurora actually changes.
I can see that, Wayne. As a healer, I have seen that.
Thank you.
Oh my God. And you know what else I've seen that they don't show a picture of there? I've seen 2 eggs. One like upright and the other one cocked sideways, and it was dark and like, bad stuff was in it too. And it was attached to it. I've seen that energy field in so many different fractals of expression, but yes, I've seen all of those.
I couldn't understand at first, when I could see, particularly on the left and the right, if you're not trained enough, you almost think that, well, it's kind of normal, but the energy signatures that we're putting off are they're clues.
Yeah, those holes in the aura, those are super, super dangerous, because that's how bad entities get into your field, because your shield is broken.
Thank you.
That's like your force field. And when your force field is down, you're weak.
And look how it comes into, particularly on the right. All right, so this person has an uneven distribution of energies, you know, and they show up in the weirdest ways. And look, and they said it's due to improper use of psychic energy.
Yep.
How many, I started looking into this. The information is really narrowed when you find out being the whole subject of improper use of one's psychic energy, that it can result in an illness in the body.
Oh man, can it? And it can get you mental illness too.
Yeah.
All kinds of illness can get in with that.
I did not know this. And this takes it even further there, where they can now actually see, and you can see what happens when a person is, they call it a complete reprogramming of the kinetic templates. I mean, I didn't realize that a human spirit can get to the point where that spirit is almost non-existent in its form.
I've seen that, Wayne. I've literally seen that where their essence was like almost dead. I have seen that.
Yeah.
I've seen that with heroin. I've seen it with death. I've seen it with disease.
Yeah. Yes.
So serious drug use. I'm talking way hardcore drug use. It does the same thing. It sucks that life force energy right out of the body. I've seen it actually too. Another way I've seen this happen is through pornography.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen such powerful demons attached to anything as like what I've seen with porn.
I think a lot of that has to do with the simple fact that I think people just, we have this wrong perception of things. And
I just heard why they're so strong.
Why is that?
Because they're feeding off the orgone energy, which is the strongest energy of this construct.
Yeah.
They're feeding off of the sex. Wow. Yeah, they're strong. They're not pretty.
I have contended in an invention I have seen of building a camera, a device that will actually allow us to see the spectral energies. We're getting close, but I see the day coming. And when that happens, this is a very interesting, I didn't expect the conversation to go like, but this is interesting because we are living at a disadvantage spiritually, physically, mentally, when there are other energies that can attach to a person with them not knowing.
Yep.
That is a disadvantage.
Yep. Especially too, because these things cause physical pain. They give you phantom pain. They mess with your energy. They give you negative thoughts. Yeah, these things they're like hitchhikers. And I've worked on a lot of people, and literally, you can find literally entities hiding in different parts of the body.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even know. Some of these things you picked up when you were a little kid from the fair.
Well, the Liber Lilith, taught as much as that as well. And that's why it was important that the list that has of every one of the spirit forces that they have their dominion over the body. That's their kingdom.
You know what I found is faster, Wayne?
What?
I love when I get my cheat sheets. Every single demon has an angel over them.
Yes, they do.
So just call over the angel that perturbs them.
In fact,
done.
That's a lot of what sigils do. They actually, if people could see the angelic alphabet, they would begin to understand how important that is. But that's exactly right.
Yes, they do. So you just say, you better not mess with me, or I'm going to call over the one that really will put you in your place.
I tell them, I say, I will be over in that realm and I will you down.
Yeah, that too.
And
but, I've learned, Wayne, one of our strongest allies is calling in our family and calling in our support and calling in on the angels.
But people aren't taught that.
Yeah, and we need to do this because they're waiting to help us, but they can't intervene unless we ask. And for thousands of years, people have been invoking all this darkness to control us and hurt us and whatever. Well, it's time now to start invoking the good stuff.
You know how I see this? it's like we have the key, right? We always had the key, but
Yeah.
they told us, don't you dare put that key in that lock.
Oh,
If you do,
yeah. It's even like the ark. They're like, oh, don't touch the spark because of the ark, it'll hurt you. They don't want you touching the higher parts of your mind. They don't want you doing magic. They don't want you doing hypnotherapy. They don't want you doing trance work. Oh God, I don't want you doing shamanic work. Oh God, no. No, because all these things, they level you up.
all right. Tomorrow night, folks, tune into the Steiger Perspective because I'm going to get into this even further. So I have been doing some background research. And all right, we're talking here and teaching how to begin to connect to the spirit realm. Call it spiritualism, call it connecting to where we're eventually are. We're already citizens of that realm. So when you meditate, you get yourself into a form of what's called a trance.
Yeah.
And meditation leads to that. I do it all the time. As children, we used to call it, the teacher would say, hello, Wayne.
Daydreaming, right?
Yeah.
Stop daydreaming.
Daydreaming. Thank
Don't
you.
dream. Stop dreaming.
What we did not realize, and this is where we have to, as a species, change that. Those children were connected directly to the spiritual realm.
They don't know the difference sometimes. They're still walking between both worlds until age 7.
Guess what? Who did figure this out?
Who?
The military.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Tune in tomorrow night, folks. They have taken a spiritual reality, a fact, and have subverted it, perverted it to something that virtually the whole population is exposed to.
Yeah.
And I didn't come upon this until I started getting into the whole magic series, and particularly Let's Connect with the Spiritual Realm. They've already figured that out.
Yeah.
Now, to me, I went, oh, now, wait a minute. People all the time say, well, why are you teaching magic? I'm beginning to think because I was led, number one, but more importantly, it may be one of the most strongest
Protections.
Yes, I was thinking of the arsenal, and that's what an arsenal does. It's designed to protect you with many different elements.
Yes. Yes.
So let's talk about that.
They've been they've been using the stuff against us for so long, and technology's really gotten very advanced. So I do think now it's about, you're going to have to learn how to protect yourself.
Thank you.
You're going to have to raise your vibration and start being able to hear your intuition to keep yourself safe. We might be coming into some very interesting times very soon. And
I was
that,
told, go ahead, hon.
yeah, with that, we need to start really working on, like you were talking about, cleaning the temple. This is going to be one of your first lines of defense for things that could potentially be coming. Because if you're not strong, you're going to have a little bit of a problem. It's time to start getting strong. And if your body is having problems and you're at the end of this journey, start preparing the spirit, because you will be one of the strongest assets to help those of us who are left here dealing with all what could be potentially coming. We're going to need you guys. We're going to need both teams, as above, so below. It's time to start coming together, and we need to start doing it now while we're physical, connecting to our ancestors, our angels, our support. We need to start learning magic. We need to start protecting the planet, protecting our temples. Most of it's from unseen, and most of it's frequency. So like this. It's an orgon pendant. It's a shield. It protects you from EMF. It protects you from different energies that are trying to go against the natural energies, because this is 432. It resonates with the frequency of my organic structure. So to keep yourself in these fields of resonance, I think it's going to be more important as time goes on. And I think that's why we're learning a lot of these things, so we can start to gear up and get ready and start making new frequencies to counteract the dark frequencies that we've been getting nailed with for a while.
In my office, I got from Russia a pound of organite, and it's all over this office. It's kind of, as you know, in the polished state, like I have an amulet as well.
Yeah,
But it's becoming very apparent that this is what I think they have feared the most.
it is.
I can understand you as a child growing up, amazing intuitiveness on your part to keep it to yourself and to actually protect that part of you.
Well, he told me, the Lord told me, he says, if you tell them that you can see my face and hear my voice, they'll tell you that you can't. And one day you'll believe them. And he says, and then you won't be able to hear my voice and see my face. And I was like, oh, that is not going to happen. Because, I understood that he could see things that they couldn't even see, the adults around me. They didn't even have a clue. And he knew, So I learned to trust that before anything in this physical world. And I think that's part of the most important part of my foundation of my spirituality, because it's stronger than this world.
Hmm. Yeah. Yep. As you were talking, it's amazing how you can go in time. Um, I have much as a healer, you can literally see what's emanating, we call them auroras, but I can actually see sometimes something that's even below that. But it's interesting because amongst the human beings, I think that we have all of these masters, and I think so often they're latent in
Yeah.
people. And that's why people, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I find that people, when they start getting into their late 40s, early 50s, that have these latent abilities that they begin to try to push through.
Wayne, it's ironic that you said that, because I've been seeing that correlation for almost 20 years. Because before I was in that age bracket, I kept hearing all these women saying, wow, you opened up in your 40s, there's just this huge correlation to this. And I've seen a lot of the kids that have been MLK'd, their full mind programs in their 30s. It seems like I see two waves. They hit a strong wave in the mid 20s or right before they turn 30, and all those programs start to break down. And then usually they throw them right back in the ward and rehook them up. But then I see it happen again when they're 40. So I wonder if we have something built in from like the good part of our codes that helps us to break programs and reevaluate our reality when we hit these timelines in our experiences, because I'm seeing this correlation huge.
I think you're spot on that, because it is much the same thing that I see. And it results so often.
Midlife crisis.
Yes.
Because you're breaking down all the programs and you're trying to figure out if you're going to readopt them or if you're going to break through and break them all apart.
And I see couples, and this is the groups I see. I see those, one partner is awakened, we would call it, I think, that to these latent abilities. The other partner wants no part of it. And it can be either the man or the woman. Or I have been fortunate to see the older couples come to the epiphany almost at the same time and blossom in their relationships.
Yes. Man, if they can both get on board together, that is an unstoppable team.
Yeah.
Unstoppable. It's just like you and Lynn. You guys are on the same page. And as you evolve, you work with each other. So that's a powerful thing.
There's another couple I have. There's Charlie and Terry, a couple I know. There's another elderly couple that are in their 70s who write me all the time. And it's almost, when you read their words, you can feel the sense of the joy.
Yes.
Yeah.
To wake with the one you love. What a gift.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate, though, because most people aren't experiencing that.
No.
That's terrible, because I've seen so much struggle and heartache come from that. Because, Wayne, it's unfortunate, but once that popcorn pops, you can't unpop it. So it's
I love it. Perfect.
You're going to be going through some terrible stuff now, So it's hard. It's hard because I mean, people try to put their head back in the sand. I've seen that too, where they're like, nope, I'm just going to go back to my old ways. And that works for a little while, but then it doesn't stick.
You're going to wake up in the middle of the night going, that is a perfect analogy. The kernel of the corn.
Boom, it's done.
But it only explodes when the pressure finally builds and it can hold no more.
Yes.
Yes.
It's like, boom.
I love that. And I think that is something. Now, if people can become to this reality earlier in their lives, I think it's phenomenal. I think that you mentioned something earlier. My goal here is to get a group that is so well versed in talking with the spirits, learning to communicate, learning to share, that when we do pass over, I think you just said something prophetic. I think there is an army that's being
You bet.
built.
I've seen it, Wayne. I've seen it.
Tell me, this is what I'm saying, and we're going to come back in.
Millions and millions of them. They are waiting for us to say, let's join together. They're waiting, and they're our family. And some of them are you. It's a higher part of you in another realm. It's just another part of you. This is you. This is your family. And we have access to everything. The darkest of dark and the lightest of light. So we've been out of balance for quite a while, and the darkness has had control over this planet for a long time. And I came here to see that flip.
And as you were just talking, I'm really hearing something inside. We read yesterday that there are all of us are advancing. If we're here, you're either going to be saying stationary or advancing. I see most people advancing. Mm-hmm. They said that a spirit does not necessarily have to reach perfection, but they reach a point, and hear me out on this. You see, my concern is that if the opposition sees that there's an influx of incarnated advanced spirits coming back in, well, this is where the abortion issue gets into play. I mean, you can see that there would be a way to prevent this. Now, what if we're advanced enough where we don't need to go through the corporeal birth? We can literally manifest ourselves into this plane.
I think in actuality, like
we can.
I honestly, Wayne, I was just going to say, I think you already did, Wayne.
I just heard someone in the back of my head, and here's what the voice I literally heard. Many have entertained angels unaware.
Yes.
And I mean, the hair's like raising up all over, It's like, okay, now, when the light goes on, folks, it goes on,
Yes, you can't unpop the popcorn.
I'm just glad that there's a bulb in the socket, So there we go. There we go. Now, we've planted that seed in thought in this group. Wow, now you think about that. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine on the departure pad, whether that's in wherever it is you pass over on, mm-hmm. Imagine the thought is, here I go, but I'm coming back, and I am coming back to change.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You don't understand.
Oh, Trina, this is good news. Talk about the army.
Too, Wayne, we have the power to call on I don't know how our voice can reach all ends of the cosmos, but it can. Literally, I was in a healing session one time with Tina Sachi, and she's a pretty well-known healer. And I needed a tune-up. I was out of school for a couple years, and I'm like, I need a session. I need somebody to take me into trance. Let's get some stuff done. Let's do this. So I went in, and my goal was clean the temple. And so she put me down, and I went into trance, and she took me to this staircase, and she's like, what do you want to do here today? I said, I'm here to clean my temple. I'm here to get rid of everything that I don't need from every lifetime, every possibility, every realm, every fractal, every existence for all that I am and ever will be. And I want it all done today. And she just started laughing. And I said, and I want to call upon my family to do it. And I want to call upon the angelic support. She freaking almost fell backwards, Wayne. She had to sit down and she literally started crying. She's like, I've never seen so many angels in my life. This is the power we have. This is the power that we truly have.
Trina, but there's many that I can hear saying, but I can't do that.
And that's not true. That's your own doubt. That's the Satan inside of your head. Kick Satan's butt.
Yeah, the accuser.
You got it. That is the only tool they got is to put those thoughts into your head. And all you got to do is say, shut up, take a back seat. I got better things to look at.
You know, when I stub my toe, and we all do in every pass of life, it used to be that the thing was always that, oh man, I screwed up, you know, look what I did, you blah, blah, blah. Now, when I hear that voice, you know what I tell it? Is that the best you got?
Right. Now when I stub my toe, I'm like, oh, thanks for the reminder. I have a fear of moving forward and I'm going to now overcome.
I mean, you start learning to talk to yourself, and this is what it is. It's truly the self-talk. It is.
It is going to make you or break you. It is ultimately the battle you are fighting is with your own internal thoughts.
Wise words.
Thing. It's it. Literally. That is it.
And that's what we're doing here. And this is what I really call the I don't know. People can say, well, it's chaos magic, you know, ritual magic. I happen to call it my own magic.
Me too.
Yeah. You know, I'll borrow from what works with me. You know, right now I'm charging, I'm basically energizing a particular sigil with my energy. I like to wear it for about 24 hours and just let it absorb who I am and then go into a charging ceremony for it.
Yeah.
It works. It's for me, you know.
And see, it's so beautiful because we're all doing it. Do it your own way.
Yeah.
Like that's how you're doing it. But like for me, it's just as simple as getting in the car, going and meditating. And nature just gives me what it needs, you know?
You don't need to charge that, baby. I mean, you know, well, in fact, I'd be laying hands on it and saying, you know, let's just, you know, get the thing going here.
It was funny though. I did have to bring it home, and I normally don't ever bring rocks home, and I just had to. It was the weirdest thing. It was like I had to bring it home.
That was a gift.
It really was.
It's a gift.
It really was. It was like you getting the rainbow on your house, Wayne. These are signs from creation itself, working through nature to bring you messages. And it's like, can you receive it? Will you find it? Will you see it? You only will if you're looking.
We need to help these people, Trina, when we get together on, we don't have to do any kind of formal way, but just it's breaking through that self-doubt. It's the fact that,
I'm telling you guys, this is the Satan of this world. It's that crap that goes into our head. And I think all of the technology, I think they're hitting us with these things.
I have to agree.
We're not only dealing with the own internal dynamics of duality, we're also being fed frequencies that we can't see or hear, but we know them in a subconscious field. So I think we're dealing with a lot more than we even can perceive.
You know, I have, and it's now just routine for me. I'm awake now by 4 in a.m. And the conversations are quite interesting. Most people talk about 3. Well, it's not 3. I used to get woke up and now it's just, but the point that I'm trying to get into is that it's a progression of steps. I mean, I know they exist. I talk to them all the time. I don't necessarily need to see them. However, I still say that puts us at, and I'll use the word, a tactical disadvantage. I mean, I think we should have that ability. And do you, I wonder, I often wondered, it's all right. Did that what the creator intended?
I think, no, I think it was
I don't
part of
think
our
so.
vision hack. I think our
Yeah.
vision got hacked through this artificial light construct that we see. So I really do. I think our vision has been hacked. And, though, it's like you did see a spirit manifest just
Yeah.
recently.
Yeah.
I
Last
really
week.
do believe it's very hard for these things to manifest, but if you need it, and if
Yeah.
you've asked for it, it will show up, obviously, Wayne. So
And that
they
spirit
will show up.
was a male, and he accepted my apology.
Thank
Um,
God. Yeah, that's good.
yeah.
That's really are.
And
They're just like us, people. They're conscious.
oh man, I
Yeah.
don't think we really understand just how.
Oh God, we need to, because this is real. And I hate to say it, their filters aren't as deadened as
Mm,
ours. So I can't imagine what it feels like for them to get their feelings hurt, because they feel way more powerfully than we do. We're
it
in a
wants
five
them.
sensory monkey suit. They're in spirit.
And we
I
don't
can't
even
imagine.
comprehend what the spirit can actually
That's
sense.
what I'm saying. So we better be extra careful, because these things, from what I understand, are extra sensitive.
Yeah, they are. They
Yeah,
are.
extra sensitive.
If you don't have any presence of, what I call the benevolent spirits, then they're around you. You're a part of a group over there.
Yeah.
Then you need to just repent and say, "Hey, man, I'm sorry. I'm just ignorant." They understand. They
They
were
do.
here.
They
Yeah,
really do. They
yeah,
really, really do.
yeah. They
Yeah,
just.
they've been there too.
In fact, what they really want is for you just to walk up and just say, "I love you this much."
Yeah,
And
like I said, the really broken ones and the really scared ones and the really, really messed up ones, the traumatized ones, you got to be careful with how much love you give them, because your vibration is in opposition to theirs. You have to be cautious with your frequencies.
boy, you just got into something that we need to talk about on another show, but that is the issue.
Yeah.
Is there are so many,
Yeah.
and I've seen it, we've all seen it, when you've tried to love that child who's been hurt so many times,
Mhm.
and they're just going to push you away in
Yeah.
anger. And that is so true. So true.
Yeah. You know how I find the effectiveness of that is you got to get rid of the child's rage.
Yeah.
So let them get their rage out. And one of the most effective ways I've ever seen, because they can't hurt themselves, and I learned this in crisis therapeutic intervention training, is you do a very beautiful, non-harmful restraint. And you're going to fight with this kid until the kid's exhausted and done and gives up, and then you're going to win. But you need to win these battles. I had to fight with a couple kids that I love, and they had entities in them that were making them behave like monsters. And children are not monsters. So when your child is behaving like a monster, that means because there's a monster inside of them. And as the parent of this child or the guardian of this child, you have legal authority to remove it. So you can, with no consequence. And you can get these things out of these kids, and you do it with love. But you have to let them work it out themselves, and they do it by releasing their rage. And when they get through all of it in a safe way, and I wrap them up in a big quilt so they can't thrash and they can't bang their heads, you keep them safe. But you gotta, when they're trying to hit and punch and kick, you hold them down in a safe place where they cannot harm themselves or anybody else, and let them work through that anger and that rage. And you just hold them down and tell them, I'm going to hold you down until you're done, because I'm going to love you enough to fight with you, and I'm going to win.
I love it.
Yep. I
Well,
love you enough to fight with you, and I'm going to win.
we're talking a spiritual warfare at a whole different level here.
Yes. And they come after these kids. I've seen children
Yeah.
affected more than adults, because they're more open. They're more innocent.
They are.
Yeah, and those are the ones we really need to be protecting, are these children, because they don't deserve that.
I think we are a part of something that is manifesting itself. Well, our hour has come and gone.
It has. I hear the clock chiming.
I looked at another wow, yeah, all right. So all right, Miss Trini, you want to say something as we come out of this, and I'm going to, a lot of information has been,
Yeah, I love you
here.
guys. Trust your intuition. Ask for guidance. Ask for the support of all that you're connected to, that's connected to the love vibrations. And literally bring this stuff in. And those little tiny thoughts in your head, pay attention to them. And the ones that are not supportive of you, tell them to shut up.
I love it.
Yeah, focus on something that makes you happy, because this is the true battle that we're facing. It's what's happening within our own minds. And when we can win that battle, guys, it's game over. We win.
That's what we're going to do here. Listen, if the
universe.
Yes, it is. And, as I was thinking about here, we're going to build the playbook. The others will actually use it in the future. So, all right, folks, listen, David Barry 75 YouTube channel, go over there, sign up as a subscriber. I did here. David, so happy to see you get your channel, and Trina's channel is down there as well. Sign up with her. Make sure you subscribe, because this is just a remarkable spirit that we have here with us. She has, well, I'm talking about you. You have tremendous.
I'm talking about you.
Be talking about you, man.
I'm talking about you.
Be talking about you, girl. This is just a beautiful, beautiful soul, no doubt about it. And thank all of you. You folks are just phenomenal. If you're here, then you are part of us. We're of the same fabric, and thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Vibe with your tribe.
Exactly. Oh, I like that. Yeah. So we had, what was that? Get with the vibe of your tribe?
Yeah, we vibe with our tribe.
We vibe with our tribe. I like that.
We vibe with our tribe.
I like that. We vibe with our tribe.
We do. We truly do. And that's why we're here. Our vibrations match.
And we have favor is the flavor. So we're going to get t-shirts made, hoodies, and we're going to start getting these around to where people, when you start walking around, people are going to go, oh, you're one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can dig that.
I love that.
Yeah.
We vibe with our tribe. Oh, that's as freaking good. All right, you graphic designers out there, get me a logo that I can put on a shirt on this one. All right. All right.
Vibrations. And I think that's the key to everything right now is our vibrations. So we want to vibe with our tribe, and we want to keep that vibe as high as we can get it without destroying our physical flesh.
What can you say again with that? All right. Tomorrow I got Karen, Queen of Quartz, on. Be good to yourselves. Trina, stay with me. And thanks, folks. Much love to you. We're out. Peace out, as they would say.